Good evening, my fellow Americans. Happy New Year. This is your 1st of January 2025 edition of A Quiet Rage. I have my notes. And I wanted to start out with, if you like the shirt, you can get yourself one, or some various other designs, right here at roxyqt.com. Highly recommend it. So, in keeping with the spirit, what I want to talk to you about today is House Resolution 3492, which is, it's not ironic, what's the word? It's cruelly named the Protect Children's Innocence Act. Its sponsor, by the way, was Marjorie Taylor Greene. So that should tell you everything you need to know about how full of pure hatred, evil, and absolute ignorance this bill is. It is just a bill. It did, unfortunately, pass the House of Representatives a few weeks back, which was very disappointing. About the 17th or 18th of December, and it was sent to the Senate and has been read and referred to the Committee on the Judiciary. Hopefully it goes nowhere. But it has 44 co-sponsors, by the way. And you can guess which party they all belong to. The party of hatred, evil, and pure ignorance. Now, how can I say that? Well, here's what it does. This bill, I'm reading from the website, from the congress.gov website, and I'll link it in the description so that you can look at it yourselves. This bill establishes federal criminal offenses for providing gender-affirming care to minors. It's going to be a felony. If this passes, it's going to be a felony to provide medical care to children. That's what this does. It also changes the existing federal criminal offense that prohibits female genital mutilation and related conduct. Now, anyone who tries to equate gender-affirming care for minors and genital mutilation is an ignorant person or is not a serious person. Maybe both. These are not the same thing. One is medical care. The other is assault. It is horrible disfiguration of a child. Not the same thing. Just so we're clear. Specifically, the bill makes it a federal crime to knowingly perform or attempt to perform procedures or provide medications, even, for example, hormonal treatments, to a minor for the purpose of changing their body to correspond to a sex that differs from their biological sex. It does provide exceptions for some things, including treating individuals that have both ovarian and testicular tissue, etc. Okay, they're not being total monsters. They're allowing that. A violation is punishable by a fine, a prison term of up to 10 years, or both. And it prohibits the arrest or prosecution of an individual who undergoes gender affirming care. So the child won't be arrested, but the doctor will, for trying to provide medical care. Now, the American Academy of Pediatrics, among others, recommends surgery only after intense and extensive counseling and conversation. And it's not there's a portion of conservatives in this country who seem to think that the president is right when he implies that your child can just go to the school nurse Monday morning and come home Monday afternoon as a different sex. That's not happening. From October 2018, many protocols suggest that clinical assessment of youth who identify as TGD, transgender, I don't know what the D stands for. I'm not going to scroll all the way up. Who identify as TGD is ideally conducted on an ongoing basis in the setting of a collaborative, multidisciplinary approach, which, in addition to the patient and the family, may include the pediatric provider, a mental health provider, preferably with expertise in caring for youth who identify as TGD, social and legal supports, and a pediatric endocrinologist or adolescent medicine gender specialist if available. There is no prescribed path, sequence, or endpoint. I fly into a quiet rage when the president talks about transgender for everybody. Everybody that needs it, everybody that wants it and can benefit from it. Yeah, absolutely. Why would we not want that? Why would we? Here's another thing. Because when you talk to conservatives who are transphobic, they love to, there's two things they love to bring up. One is, this is a mental illness. It's in the DSM-5 or whatever. Gender dysphoria is a mental illness. Okay. For the sake of argument, I'll accept your point. Then what? Should the person with gender dysphoria not be afforded counseling and given every opportunity to seek the medical treatment as prescribed by their doctor? Multidisciplinary doctors? If surgery is recommended, why would you want to deny it to those people? Who is it hurting? And the second thing they love to bring up is this idea that there's this massive post-transition regret that, oh, do you know how many people that they make it sound like some massive portion of people who transition later regret having done so. Well, there's been multiple studies, and all of these things are going to be linked in the description, so you can check them out yourself. From the American Journal of Surgery. When was this published? August 2024. So a little over a year ago. A total of 55 articles examining regret after plastic surgery were included. The percentage of patients reporting regret ranged from 0 to 47% in breast reconstructions, etc., etc. Rate of regret after gender-affirming surgery is approximately 1%. 1%. Other life decisions, such as having children, a regret rate of 7%. And getting a tattoo, 16.2%. So the number of people that wish they hadn't had children is 7 times that the number of people who regret having gender-affirming surgery. Just, let that sink in. And anytime some transphobe moron tries to bring up that regret thing, show them this. Show them these numbers. Also, and the ignorance and the unwillingness to actually listen to any trans people who would try and educate them. The insistence on ignoring, for example, the American Academy of Pediatrics, who recommend that if the doctors, the multidisciplinary doctors who are treating the patient who has gender dysphoria, if the multiple doctors recommend surgery, then the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that surgery be done. And these MAGA conservative transphobes try to act like they know everything there is to know about this, but they I'm telling you they don't, because they don't know these numbers, and they've never tried to learn anything about it. I promise you they haven't. If you want to learn something about this, you can look at the links that I've already talked about, and you can also, there's an excellent video by a biologist by the name of Forrest Valkai. It's called Sex and Sensibility, and I will warn you, it's an hour and 40 minutes long. But he explains in very simple terms that sex and gender are not the same thing, and that gender dysphoria is not out of the norm, that changing sex is a natural and normal thing that happens in the animal kingdom in many species. And if you think you know everything there is to know about sex, gender, and all things associated, I encourage you to watch this video. Take the time. Like I said, it's an hour and 40 minutes, but you will be more informed for having watched it. I highly recommend it. And he's got a lot of other good content too, but that one I want to highlight in particular. I've been meaning to tell you about this one, because it's, again, the Dunning-Kruger effect of people thinking they know that it's, I was taught when I was a kid there's only 2 genders. Yeah, you were also taught that there's only 5 senses. There's more than that. We were taught very basic things when we were children. And then as we progressed, as we grew mentally and our abilities to understand more complex ideas, we learn more. If you go to college, you're going to learn more about sex and sexuality. If you study biology, if you get a PhD, you're going to learn even more. There's a lot to learn. And when you're in grade school, you only learn the basics. And if you think that what you learned in grade school as a little child is the end-all be-all of what you can learn about any given topic, you are being willfully ignorant. Don't do that. Allow yourself to continue learning. Otherwise, you're going to end up like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and you're going to introduce a bill that passes the House that tells transgender children you're not actually who you think you are. And on that subject, here's another from I'm going to get this name wrong, Dr. Moira Szilagyi? I don't know. I'll link her article, but what I wanted to point out, and she is a doctor that is a member of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Quoting from her article, the emotional and psychological trauma of rejection, whether by family, friends, society, or lawmakers, can leave scars that never heal. When we fail to accept people for who they are, we pass painful judgments on them and create so many unnecessary emotional and psychological pain. So much, not so many. I've said it before. I have no idea what it's like to feel like you are in the wrong body. I've talked before about when I was a kid, my pituitary gland, that regulates growth when you're in childhood, mine malfunctioned, and I stopped growing for 9 months in 3rd grade. Stopped completely. And then again for another 6 months or so in 5th grade. So I was shorter than everybody in my class, pretty much. And it sucked. I got made fun of. I couldn't reach things on the top shelf. But I wished I could be taller, but I never felt like I was in the wrong body. And I can't imagine what that feels like. It must be maddening. I cannot imagine the emotions and the turmoil that would cause. And further, I can't imagine what it must feel like to see pundits on the news and legislation passing the House of Representatives telling you, no, you're wrong. What you think in your stupid little head, you're wrong. That's not real. I can't. And not only that, we're not going to allow you the care necessary to, I don't want to say fix. We're not going to allow you the care to alleviate those thoughts. We're not going to allow you to live your life the way you feel inside, which no one else can tell you, the way you feel you're supposed to. I can't. My heart breaks for them, which is why I wear this shirt, and why I make videos like this. Now, as I said, this monstrous excuse for a law or a bill, it's not a law yet, and hopefully the Senate just ignores it. I wouldn't. On the one hand, it would be perhaps vindicating to see it voted down on the floor of the Senate, to see it fail. But then that's just putting trans people who pay attention to this kind of thing, who are watching, that puts them through another news cycle of having to listen to these ignorant people on the right spouting their transphobic garbage. So maybe the best thing is if it just never makes it out of committee and it's never voted on. Regardless, the ACLU, who I've spoken about in previous episodes, are fighting this. And if you would like to send a message to your elected representatives, I will link their specific, the ACLU specific page for what to say to your elected representatives to get the message across. So if you're looking for something to do, if you're looking for something tangible to do, you can absolutely contact your representative and let them know that this piece of trash legislation should never again see the light of day. And again, the links for everything will be in the description. What else can we do? As always, find local groups, find democratic groups in your area, and gather with your people. I'm very much looking forward to next week. I believe it's next week. The local Democrats organization that I belong to will be having the first meeting of the year following reorganization, which we do I think every 2 years, and we'll be voting on our officers. So that's exciting. I think we have a lot to look forward to this coming fall. We've got midterm elections coming up, so get your yard signs ready. I mean, we had some major victories in November. Zoran Mamdani was sworn in today as the mayor of New York City, which is awesome. Virginia, we elected, it was a clean sweep of governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. So that's fantastic. Governor of New Jersey also elected a Democrat, and there were other victories as well around. But as I've said before, the work is not done. We still got more to do. So take a break when you need it, but when you've got the energy, when you have the spoons to get back at it, get back at it. I've said it many times. I'll keep saying it. This president, our president, is wrecking a lot of things, and we're going to have a lot of work to do to stop him wrecking more things, or at least try and slow him down. And when that wonderful day when he is no longer in office, we're going to have a lot of work to do to make repairs to this republic. So, if, like me, you understand that trans people are real people and that we should get out of the way and let their doctors make decisions about their treatment, and not let piece of garbage legislation like HR 3492 see the light of day, then keep your powder dry and keep your quiet rage. Good night, my fellow Americans.